Good morning. How are you guys?
Great.
Are you guys ready to hear all of the internal information that we're not really privy to? So I'm super excited. I hope you are as well. But before we go down that road, I want to send a special shout out and introduce the director of the HCC Entrepreneur Center here in Houston at the HCC Southeast Campus, Jermaine Washington. I want her to say a few words to you guys about the Entrepreneur Center. And Jermaine, take it away.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome all of you here today to our Small Business Development and Entrepreneurship Center. We are dedicated to helping small businesses reach their goals, expand, and even people who want to start their small businesses. And we are in partnership with corporations to help you meet those goals. With that being said, I just want you to know we have a host of events coming, other events coming up as well. We have a website where you can see all of our events. And also we're going to be having Taking Your Business Online event coming up on Thursday, March the 24th. And we're also going to be having the ins and out takes of video marketing that's going to be coming up. So we just hope that you take advantage of all of these opportunities. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you in any way, my office is right around there, and I would just be most glad to help you. So I hope you have a wonderful event today, and thank you very much for coming.
So without further delay, I'll allow Sherry to give her resume and tell you about herself and take us further into the program. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for coming out on such an awful weather day. So glad you guys made it. Ready to learn some really valuable tips on online marketing. So since 1992, I've been helping small businesses grow. I had the good fortune of partnering up with Google. In fact, you're going to hear from my counterpart, Rebecca, who is in the corporate office. And as soon as I can find her, there she is. So Rebecca, the way we're going to work this presentation is Rebecca will take the first part of it, and then she'll go through a lot of the Google products, and then we'll take that product knowledge and give it real life application, basically give it some legs. So bear with us as we go through some of this technical challenges. We don't quite have the audio and the video that we need. So I'm going to give you, if you look, you can see Rebecca there at the bottom. I'm going to give her the same courtesy and give her a view of you guys. So everybody wave and say hello to my bestie, Rebecca, who is probably the most awesome person, I think, at Google. So she can pretty much get anything done. Well, not anything, but she can get a lot done. Good morning, Rebecca. Can you hear us?
Okay, so I'm not sure how much you can hear of this. Actually going to Rick is going to do the presentation and go through a high-level overview of our products and services and why you should use Google AdWords. And then Sherry's going to break it down on everyday use. So without further ado, here's Mr. Rick Stidham.
Morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up if something happens and you can hear me there, Sherry, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So I'd like to thank all of you for being here, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Google. And our presentation today is what we call the Micro Moments Workshop. Before we begin, I'm just going to give you a little background on myself. I'm one of the senior agency development managers here at Google. I've been with the company for 6 years. Handled over 9,000 AdWords clients, and in that time we've done a number of these things, and our job here is to help agencies and their clients be successful through online marketing. And so that's going to be the focus of this workshop today. So let's get started. So our agenda for this morning is going to be these 4 topics basically: why online, why now, Why Google, and why work with a Google partner agency, or why work with an agency? So we'll begin with the concept of why now, the topic of why now. Sometime back we had a study, we commissioned a study by Accenture, and one of the things they found out was that as many as 88% of consumers are researching items online and then buying in a physical store. So that's really what this workshop is going to be about, is how our lives have changed. Now, Sherry, do you have a video there?
I do.
To tee up?
Yes.
Okay, can you tee up the Micro Moments video, please?
There you go.
Do you hear a clicking or a grinding sound when you turn the key? All right. So the idea behind the video is that we no longer really go online. We live online. And we're living online a moment at a time in what we call micro moments, right? And one thing that we all are aware of is that we're tuning in more than ever. And you can see, and each one of us is affected by the technology and the way it's impacting our life, from our mobile phones to our tablets to our laptops to our desktop devices. We're more connected than we ever have been. And really, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, it's just jumped into hyperdrive. So the question in this first section here is why online, right? Why have an online presence for businesses? And here we had another Boston Consulting Group. We commissioned another study called The Connected World, and they found in that study that businesses that make use of the web are expected to grow 40% faster than businesses that don't, right? And one of the other pieces of data that we found is that media consumption is changing in the way people receive information. So what used to be mainly driven through TV and radio and newspaper is now being driven more electronically. And what we've seen over the last couple of years is that now our other devices are starting to outstrip even the television. So you can see here that the average consumer is spending about 1,900 minutes, so a little over 1,900 minutes a week on television, but then they're splitting about 2,422 minutes a week between their mobile phone, their tablet, and their laptop. So things are changing, and that trend is moving more towards the mobile devices and away from television. And if you take a look at this picture here, this probably looks very similar to your home in the evening. I know it looks very similar to mine. When my wife and I are sitting in the living room, this is about what it looks like. We've got the TV on, and I've got my laptop pulled up, and she's over there on her tablet, and we're watching TV, and we're surfing, and we're shopping, and we're staying in touch with friends, all simultaneously. And the idea is that we're moving between devices. Right? And so what we know, this is something that we know, that 63% of people that watch TV are surfing at the same time while they're watching TV, and 90% of all people that have these types of devices are moving between the devices to accomplish a goal. So what may start out on one device may finish up on another. And just to show how connected we are,
this illustration just gives, again, an average view of an average consumer's daily activity. And it looks like here that they're connecting to the web approximately 150 times a day. See, so they come on in the morning and they're checking their cell phone, and you can see the different times in the day when they check in, they shop, they buy tickets, they check the weather, they're looking for bus schedules. So there's all kinds of connected activity, and what we're talking about is the average consumer. The average consumer is checking in almost 150 times a day. So that's why we need to have a presence online. The other part of the online thing that's changing is shown on this slide here. 20%, this last year, there was a 20% increase in mobile devices share of all online session activity. Right? The other thing is that we are more and more impatient. Because we're more connected, we want things faster. And so what the second cell is showing is the decreased time that people spend once they get to where they're going. We're in a hurry. We want our information fast. We want to get to where it's going. And when we get there, we want those websites to load fast, to respond to us quickly. We don't want to be clicking buttons and sitting around watching the wheels spin, right? The other thing that we've noticed, just especially over the last year and a half, is the increase in what we call mobile conversion rates. People are shopping on their phones, right? And we're going to see some data here on that on the next slide, or in some of the coming slides. But the world has changed, and it's really changing fast. 61% of the people, consumers now prefer, right, news on either a PC, a tablet, or a laptop, as opposed to a hard physical printed newspaper, right? The amount of time that we're spending online is increasing. So the average consumer is spending like 4 hours and 13 minutes online. They're watching TV for 4 hours, 13 minutes, but they're spending 150 hours online. So you can see that that's a huge increase to being connected. And 20% of all online sales are coming from mobile devices. So this is a huge shift in technology and in consumer behavior. So that's why we need to have a presence online. And I always say one of the best reasons to have a presence online is, if I were looking for you, how would I find you if you weren't online? Right? How would I find you if you weren't online right now? Okay, the next thing that we've noticed is, and this is something that's true about consumer behavior, the buying process has changed. Buyers are more unpredictable now than they ever have been. Number two, they regularly switch between devices. And number three, they read reviews, they compare styles, and they research pricing. So one of the things we notice now is that consumers are more educated than they ever have been about the products and services that they're buying. And in many cases, they may know more about the products than the people that are actually selling it to them, right? Another part of the buying process that's changed is how we do it. And this was another part of another study that we commissioned some time ago. And this is something that Google knows. This is something that we know. And that is this little information source here on the right, that the average number of information sources buyers research online before purchasing is 10.4 sources, right? So the average consumer, before they make a major purchase, has researched that purchase at least 10.4 times, right? So what we know is they search and then they turn around and search again. They're comparison shopping. And what Google also knows is that every second that ticks off, there are 40,000 searches occurring in the United States every second. So that's another really important reason to have an online presence and why to do it now. Now this right here, okay, so 100 years ago, back in the 70s when I was in college, and we were learning marketing, and they were teaching us the 4 Ps, right? And we learned consumer behavior and the buying path. It was a very linear process, right? And there was a certain way to expose a consumer to your message, and you did that through the yellow pages, you did that through some type of print ad, whether a newspaper or a publication. You could buy billboards, you could have storefronts, you could have electronics. But that was the messaging component. And then the consumer would consider that message and take some kind of action, like maybe call us or come to the store. And then there may be another step where they're expressing some kind of intent, like they ask us for some more information or a quote, right? And then hopefully they make that decision to buy the product, right? So that was basically the model of all marketing. It was really the way it was consumer behavior and what we call purchase funnels up until the internet. But once the internet came along and started reshaping consumer behavior, what we now see is more of a circular buying pattern, where they start out and they use the web more as a circular hub, right? And you can see that the consumers in the middle, and 93% of them, if they have something, will start out and start with a search, a basic search. And then they'll move through this model of progression in maybe one or others. They may check online videos, they may look for online reviews, they may go to the store, they may look for more advertising online, other ads, they may recheck on their phone, they may go to one of the social media sites and check to see if any of their friends or followers has any recommendations or reviews on those products. So we're all connected, and this is all a right now thing. It's a right now thing. If I need a plumber, all I have to do is search for a plumber, and I can have that information right now. Right now. So the question is, now, why online? Why now? And then most of all, why Google? Right? So what can Google do to help you ramp up your online presence? Now this doesn't, obviously we're in 2016, so we need to change this slide. But the reason that Google is so effective is because we divide consumer behavior and consumer action and advertiser goals into basic three big funnel areas. Number one, branding, building awareness for branding. Number two, influencing consideration. And number three, driving sales. So from an online standpoint, when we see an advertiser, we basically are categorizing their goals into one of these three silos, right? And so this product array is what the products that we use at Google to help advertisers accomplish those goals. So like for instance, if your goal is to build brand awareness, we have YouTube, we have live stream videos, we have all kinds of things where you can reach a large number at scale economically, right? If you're influencing consideration, then we have shopping ads, we have click-call ads. You know, if you're driving around and you're looking for something and you're literally in your car, you can do a mobile search, and the information that you see will be the information that's closest to you right now, right? So by mobile search, you can influence that consideration by having ads online connected to your Google My Business page that shows map locating, right? And then obviously to drive sales, over on the top we have different, the third one down you can do, we always have different types of campaign: search display, video. And then we have ways to re-engage people through remarketing, shopping. So we have a complete product array to accomplish any advertiser goal and to do it within their budget considerations. So we have a lot of different tools that we offer to you to help you build your business. So this is how we accomplish that in these three funnel areas that we're talking about. Number one, to build awareness, right? So we have the ability to target mass reach. So you have the ability to get large audiences with economy. Right? And we do that through click-to-call campaigns, we do that through YouTube, we do that through Google Display Network. And basically, people can't buy a brand if they don't know about it. And so this is one of the biggest challenges to marketers, and I deal with this a lot. When I'm talking to an advertiser, they have a great product, but nobody knows they exist. And so this is the goal, to build that awareness, to get the word out that you're in business and you're ready to help fill a need as it arises. And once you build that awareness, then the next thing to do is to influence the consideration, to engage people and engage the right audience. right? So to turn people who are aware of your brand into buyers of the brand. And so once we've got their attention and we've let them know and piqued the interest that we're out there, now we're going to tell them our story, right? We're going to tell them, WYSIWYG, right? What's in it for me? What you see is what you get, right? We're going to talk about what's in it for me. What is this product? How does it value? So like when I'm talking to advertisers all the time and we're talking about writing ad copy, it's all about telling a story. It's all about saying, what is it? How does it benefit me? And what do I do next, right? So you tell those people that are looking for, what is the product? Here it is. It's the product you've been looking for. How does it benefit me? It's the right product for the right price. What do I do next? Call now, right? So we tell them our story, and then we give them calls to action to move them through and influence that consideration, answering questions, and then finally, we're going to close the deal. Right? So we have ways to drive sales, to drive them to the particular product pages at the exact moment, at the exact time. And then not only that, we have ways to track that activity. So not only do we have ways to know who searched for you and when we got them to your website, we have ways that we can re-engage them later. So if they don't make a purchase today, we can start showing them additional ads later at no cost to you unless they decide to come back to the website, right? So most of the tools that Google has, first of all, one of the things I want to say about Google, and I have been in the advertising industry for 35 years, there's no form of advertising out there where you get to expose potential clients to your advertising message and never pay anything unless they take an action that's right for you, right? So unless they do something, you don't pay. But that's what happens with Google AdWords, right? We're talking about pay per click. So if they don't click on your ad, you don't pay. If they don't come to your website, you don't pay. If they don't watch your video for a certain length of time, you don't pay, right? There's no other advertising like that. So the chances and the odds, your risk is very low. And the rewards are very high for being successful. Now, the next thing is why deal. Okay, so we're going to leave. Yeah, so I guess we're going to end it here, and we're going to let Sherry pick up the agency side. But if there are any questions, we would love to hear those and be able to take a few simple questions.
All right, so that's kind of the end of their product presentation. If you have specific questions on a specific product, this is a great opportunity to ask Google and get it straight from the voice. So, anybody have a question? This gentleman in the hat. I'm going to see if I can't get you on the webcam.
You first.
Okay, so sir.
Yeah, there's been some talk about, or used to be more prevalent about click fraud. In other words, I'm not exactly the most honest competitor. Can you hear me?
Can you see? Rebecca?
Hi.
Rebecca, can you hear us?
Yeah, just barely.
Okay, just barely? Okay, go ahead and ask your question and I'll relay it.
Okay, there used to be a thing called click fraud, where I'm a bad competitor and I'm going to drive up
Click rates.
the guy's next door's click rates, get him to pay for a bunch of clicks. So I contract with somebody in India, and they have a bunch of people that all they do all day is just click, 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 click. What do you have any way to geographically limit where those clicks come from?
So Rebecca, the question is, let me see if I can turn up my speaker. The question is, is there a way to avoid click fraud? How to eliminate click banks from India that have different IP addresses that are paid to eliminate the competition's budget?
That's a great question, and we're asked that a lot. So it's not just a ClickBank from India. It could be a small business owner what to know what keeps his competitor down the street clicking on his ad. So Google has a 3-layer click fraud monitoring system. And so we have an idea of what suspicious activity looks like. There are certain types of activity that go along with fraudulent clicks. And so the first one is a machine safeguard that recognizes those signals. So like if there's a lot of clicks that are coming from outside areas that aren't really our target area, very short time on site, just a lot of little, what you call warning signals that let us know that it's not valid, right, or relevant clicks. In any AdWords account, you can actually go into the back of it after it's been running in a while, and you can see that Google goes in and credits clicks from time to time because we recognize that there are certain clicks that were really not coming from the right source, and we will credit your account. Furthermore, if you sense that there is a particular IP address that is coming after you, you can block that IP address from seeing your ad. And second of all, if you have some kind of a concern, you can escalate it to us and we will investigate it. So we'll literally go into our servers and check those logs. And if we agree with you, then we'll discredit your account.
So,
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
So, and I'll elaborate on that just a little bit as well. From what we found is your machine leaves cookies. So every time you do something, a trail is left across the internet. And so Google's algorithm is designed to pick that cookie trail up so that if a bank, if you will, that's paid to go out and look for spending budget, it'll pick up that trail of that person doing that type of activity. And then, like he said, then you can look at it on the back side of the account. So there is an automated process, and it's through the cookies on an actual machine. So, yes, sir?
I have 5 questions.
5 questions?
Yes.
Okay. 5 questions coming at you.
Okay. Google have competition or same like Google Ad.
I'm sorry?
Google, they have other company competition like Google Ad.
Are there other competitors for Google? Yes, there's a million of them. None as effective as Google. There's Bing, Yahoo, AOL. There's a ton of them. So.
Okay. The second, I know we talk about Google, you know everything for Google. What happens if what department or person I can go directly, you know, if I want to promote that corporation? If I want to be directly.
We'll talk about that here towards the end of the presentation. We'll answer that question specifically at the end.
Okay. I know Google Ad will make profit. What social or media they produce more profit, or they can produce more profit?
So
Google Ad.
the question, Rebecca, Rick, is which product in Google do you believe produces more profit? What have you seen case study-wise? And if you don't have an answer for that, I might have an answer for that.
I think the numbers across the board, it's going to be search and Google Shopping is what's going to close from a numbers perspective.
Yeah. Well, I would say that the reason that shopping and search are the most profitable is not because of Google, but more because of consumerism in the buying process, right? When they go to the search engine or they go to shopping, they're a little further down that search funnel and they're very close to making a decision. Whereas some of our other products like YouTube or Display Network, you're just still piquing their interest. So, but the answer to the question is every advertiser's situation is different because it depends on the product, it depends on the conversion and what the value of the conversion is. So there's a lot of different variables that go into advertiser situation.
And when we go into the second part of that, I'll give you a decision tree that'll help you make decisions on what product's right for you, and that's the practical application. Yes, sir.
Are you going to speak more about the call on the mobile device?
In
You
specific.
mentioned I forgot what it was. It sounded like an evolution of the Google Voice thing.
He's asking about Google Voice. And we're really not going to speak on that so much today in the after session. So Rick, if you want to speak.
What was the question?
He mentioned something about, on a mobile device, you're looking at your phone and there's a click to just call.
Oh, yes. So click to call. So he's asking about click to call on the mobile device.
Okay.
It's so an elaboration of click to call. And sorry.
What's the question though about it?
There's really not a specific question, but I think we will cover that in the product section, and we'll elaborate some in the application. So we will talk about that in the next section. Anybody else have a question for Rebecca or Rick? Yes, ma'am?
If someone was to Google a compound.
You know we can hear you, right? Just thought I'd point that out.
You guys, are we like flashing across the screen like disco? It's so weird.
Yeah, we're having a really bad storm here, so I think the internet's kind of moving in and out a bit. So, what was your question?
If someone was to Google a compounding pharmacy, how do we get our business the first thing they see?
The question is, if I have a compounding business, a compounding pharmacy, how do when somebody Googles that, how do I appear first? You want me to handle that one in the next session? I got that one. We're going to talk a lot about that.
Farmer certificate.
Pharma certificate, that's number one.
If you don't have a farm certificate, then we'll be the advertising.
Right. So we'll talk about that one in the next section as well, talking specifically about how to make it to page 1 and what does that mean and what does that do for you and the best way to do it.
On the topic of pharmaceuticals, if you've ever been here before, we could do beer, wine, and sake. That was fine in advertising, but no hard alcohol. Google still can't build the advertising, but if you look, you can now do hard alcohol on Google Shopping. So anybody out there that wants to sell tequila, you're down. We're good.
You have a liquor store.
We're all in.
So there's things there's certain requirements that you have to do in order for some particular industries and particular ads. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How specific can you limit your geographically limit your ads?
How specific can you target your geography for your ads?
Other than zip code, legislative district, mileage, everything except for an actual, you can't give me an IP address.
So she's saying you can really limit it, you can really narrow it down all the way down to radius, so a geography, 5 miles, 2 miles, 3 miles, or by zip code. So it has some very, very powerful radius tools.
Not only that, you have the ability, there is one setting, like for instance, if you have a product that caters to a particular income category, you can target several zip codes in a city, and then you can just say only the top 10% income in that zip code. So you have some other options as well to really refine that targeting, both geographically and audience-wise.
And now that you've said that, Rick, going back to your original question about the India question, there is a setting that you can put in the backside of AdWords that'll allow you to show your ad to only people searching that are inside your marketplace. So it'll eliminate everything outside the marketplace, and it'll allow that farm clicking to stop. It's always a great setting, especially if there's a limited budget. Any other questions?
Are you going to develop this product?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to develop this topic of the audience creation or the targeting market?
Are we, one more time, I'm sorry.
Are you going to cover it during?
Yes, in the next session.
Okay.
We're not gonna go through all of them specifically individually, but we're gonna talk about how to use them. And so we'll talk about I call it the big six, because it's the big six that are really most relevant to most business owners. Any other questions? No other questions for Google. Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Sherry. Thanks, Houston.
Thank you.
Rick, Rebecca, thank you guys. We appreciate you. Love your face, and we'll talk to you soon.
Love your day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.